Hello there. If you're like me, you have one or more LaCie hard drives. And if you're again like me, one or more of them has either gone bad or is in the process of going bad. Now, if the drive itself has gone out, you're going to know it, but what you may not know is that these power supplies here start to hiss quite loudly, and that's a sign that things are going bad. You need to take care of it. You've got the quick, easy way of buying a new power supply here, and you can get that from Amazon, eBay, or from LaCie directly. Or if your drive is still under warranty, do contact them and they'll work with you on replacing the drive, and I can show you a link for that later. Or you have the option of trying to fix this thing, and especially in the case of those of you that have multiple drives, you don't want to be spending around $20 a pop to replace these. But again, maybe you do, if you're busy or such. You're going to have a power supply that looks similar to this, with a little plug similar to that. This sticker just may be a little bit different. You may see something more along the lines like this. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to replace the capacitors in here, or some of the capacitors have gone bad. We'll take a look at those later. You got to pry open this case. So along this seam, of course, having this unplugged, and I will take this time here to say this is more for informational purposes, reference purposes. I'm not an electrician. I can't take responsibility if you do damage your power supply or your hard drive. So working with any electronics, please be aware that you are doing this on your own, but I did do this myself, and it worked just fine. So anyway, pry this thing open carefully, kind of get a screwdriver in here and start twisting a little bit until you get an opening, and then slide the screwdriver along, slowly trying to pry these sides open. Odds are there's going to be a fair amount of glue on one end, and you're just going to have to end up carefully with your hands ripping the thing open. Before I continue too much further, I do want to refer you here to the Televisionator on YouTube. He has a video describing this situation, so if you're not sure if your power supply has this problem, go ahead and go to his video and play it, and you'll definitely hear the sound for what the problem is. And then if you also look at his site, when you go there, he provides a link, which I'll let you go to his site and click on the link for how to contact technical support if you do have warranty support. Otherwise, you can go to their website to order a replacement drive. I also would like to acknowledge within Fixia, Tim from Brisbane, Australia. So if you go to this URL up here, he describes kind of the scenario that's going on, mentioning about the the power supply rails, what's going on. So I wanted to acknowledge that I did get quite a bit of advice just from this link right here. Pretty much these are the little guys that we're going to need to be replacing. The electrolytic capacitors. I'm going to show you some pictures later of these products. This is actually what I bought and what I used to replace, so we'll come back there in a moment, or I'll just leave that open. So once you have the cover removed from this power supply and you get inside, you've now got this shielded heat transferring case on here, and you're going to need to remove this section right here, which when you do, will reveal something that looks similar to this. Now, I'm not going to say your power supply is going to be identical to this, but this is what you're going to see. This is the part that gets removed. You've got, I forget what these are, transistors? No, I forget what they are. But anyway, these are the parts that convey the heat, from the board to this heat sink here. And if you take a look here, you've got these 3 prongs here, 2 here. One was removed in the center. It's going to kind of be hard to see here. I had a blurry camera, or camera didn't take close up very well, but here's the part with the 3. So this is the underside of the board, which I should mention this board right here, which is the circuit board. So you're going to need to remove the solder from here and the solder from here in order to slide this piece out. This little piece of tape is not connected. It's just so you'll lift that silver piece off right here to expose this, and then what you're looking for is swollen capacitors. And here's another picture. These are the 3 that were swollen for me. These little colored dots I put on just for my own purposes. but these are the three I needed to replace. Now a capacitor, this is a normal working capacitor, what it would look like. It's flush, it's flat. One that's going bad looks like this. Now if you see, there's this swell here, or this swelling, this raise. Flat, raised. Now these little grooves that you can't see too well here, but you can kind of see here, they are made in such a way that if this starts to fail, you'll know because these will start to pop up. It's just a matter of where these capacitors were. So these are what you need to remove. Here's the ones that I took out. So then you have these little stubs. Here's the fresh ones. It's very important, besides being, electrolytic capacitors and this cylindrical type, that you make sure that they're rated for 105 degrees. It has to be able to tolerate high temperatures because of the design of the power supply. If you want more information on that kind of stuff, I recommend that you go back here and kind of read what he's listed here as far as what you could replace it with, what he replaced it with. But this is what I chose to get, and here you get a little bit more specs on what was removed. You see 10 volt is what I removed, but I replaced them with 16 volt for all three. The 12 volts that were inside already, these two were okay. I did not replace them, but Tim here did replace his, so it's up to you. The capacitors, they get removed at these points. So here, here, and here are the ones that I removed. These two remained. So if you look, these are the two that remain. And so here's the points that I did not remove the solder from. But I did remove the solder from these points, which is why it's silver. So then I put back in the correct, or the new capacitors, and I resoldered them in, and I cut off the leading edges. One thing that I do want to bring to your attention, if I can find the right picture, is this one here. When placing the capacitors, they must be put in the correct order. So hopefully you kind of know what you're doing, but you see this stripe on the capacitor? This is the negative end. There's a negative and a positive end. Here's the negative. So this pin right here, this pin right here, these are the negative leads. You must put them in the right order, otherwise these things could blow. This black area on the circuit board is going to indicate where negative is. So you're not going to have too big of a problem. So on these two here, if these were to be lifted out, there would be a black end right on the board, right under there. So when you place the new ones in, just make sure that you slide this capacitor in so that this stripe here is on the same side as this black end, and you should be fine. To remove the solder, I used this tool. I like it very much. Some may not. It generates quite a bit of heat. There's also just standalone vacuums that you can use. I got this from Radio Shack. There's also little bulbs, and then there are braids that you can use. So it's up to you. If you do not know how to remove solder, there are other videos on YouTube where folks show you how to use that. This is what I used. I like it very much. I recommend it. So once again, this is where I went to on eBay to get these. I got it from All Parts. It takes a while, comes from China, so give yourself a few weeks. But you get a pack of 20, or they have a pack of 10, and it's very cheap. So well worth your while if you have multiples. So I know this was kind of quick, but it hopefully will lead you in the right direction and get you going. Take care.